Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Kurama give all chakra to Naruto in Chunin exams Sasuke bashing. Before I start, please support for more amazing content and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by Orphann and link in the description and support writer. Let's start the video. Naruto was currently running on ahead with all his speed. Away from the Jonins chasing him and towards the lush green forest. It was rather convenient to do so if you could find one at every corner of the village. Kurama switch, Naruto screamed in his mind. The eternal being woke up from his slumber grudgingly. DSK Kurama said before Naruto's ocean blue eyes changed into red slitted ones and jumping high up not possible for any human and sped at what seemed like a blur. It hasn't even been an hour and you have gotten yourself in trouble, Kurama grumbled releasing possession of Naruto's body. Naruto panted and plopped down on the ground against a bark of the tree. I just painted the Hokage stone faces, Naruto said regaining his breath, they needed to be colored anyways. What did you do? Kurama asked rolling his eyes. Flowers on the first Hokage, Sharingan eyes on the second, and nosebleed on the third, Naruto completed. Nothing for your dear old father? Kurama asked. I don't know what to feel about him, Naruto admitted now looking into the distant skies. He sealed you and me, not that I have any problem with it now at least, Naruto said frantically. Just get to the point, Kurama said. You say he didn't hate me, but why would he seal you in me then? He isn't like the others. He doesn't hate mom, who was a Jinchuriki as well. He loved her and married her, Naruto began, then why did he do that to me? He must have known what it's like. There was silence prevailing between them for an awkward moment before, Naruto was yanked by his collar, what are you doing here instead of the class? I was lost. Naruto tried. Lost to facing the Hokages, Iruka asked rhetorically, you are coming to class right now. Naruto was then dragged until he was thrashed on his seat in his class, much to the laughter of his class. Iruka sighed heavily, all of you come and perform the Bunshin jutsu. None of you are allowed to go until everyone in class has made at least one Bunshin. When the whining and cries started, Iruka slammed his hand on the table to shut them up. Yamanaka Ino, Iruka called. Damn Naruto, we always have to pay for you, Shikamaru said dragging himself slowly to the line. Like I care, Naruto said crossing his arms and huffing. Uchiha Sasuke, Iruka called and ignored the girly cheers and encouragement. Sasuke formed 3 perfect Bunshins, and the volume of the cheers increased. Naruto, Iruka called. Naruto went and stood in his place, switch. Naruto then closed his eyes and made the hand seals and filled the room with hundreds of Bunshins. Very good, Iruka said, but that still doesn't mean you are off the hook for the Hokage faces. I know, Naruto said pouting. Did you one of your pranks again? Chaoji asked. Painted the Hokage faces, Naruto said happily. I gotta see that, Chaoji said laughing. It's not funny. They are supposed to be the strongest and most honored shinobi who protect us. They should not be disrespected like that, Sakura said indignantly. Aren't you very close to Sandaime-sama? Sakura commented more than asked, you of all people should know their sacrifices for us. Naruto struggled not just lash out about Hokages sacrificing too much. Naruto did not know what to say on that to the pink-haired girl that he secretly used to liked. Don't try to copy, Sasuke-kun, Sakura roared. But I did not say anything, Naruto defended. That's what Sasuke does to his fangirls. Ignore them, that's why she said that, Kiba snorted. You guys are just jealous, Sakura said with the support of her fellow competitors. Yeah, Naruto is the only one that has a slight chance of beating Sasuke-kun, so you all goad off of him, Ino said equally fiery. As not, instantly all the fangirls turned on Ino. Yeah, I just meant in ninjutsu, Ino said. The states and glares intensified, even from Sasuke. I mean, just the Bunshin, Ino said defensively. Sasuke-kun isn't showing off like Naruto doesn't mean he is weaker than him in anything, Sakura said clearly wrong in her assessment. Silence. Iruka boomed. You all have your genin exams next week. You all should be preparing instead of playing around, Iruka said. Everyone grew nervous. Class is dismissed, Iruka said. Not you Naruto, you have things to do, Iruka halted the sneaky Naruto. Good luck, Shikamaru said to him walking out. Naruto woke up the next day after hours of rubbing and scrubbing the Hokage faces. I should be training on my Bunshin, Naruto said to no one. Naruto sat water to boil and went to brush his teeth. On returning, he poured the steaming water into the ramen and walked out after locking his door. He was walking slowly, enjoying his ramen along his way to academy. He felt someone behind him so he turned, but too late to do anything about the kunai coming for his neck. He closed his eyes but the impact didn't come. He opened his eyes to see Sasuke looking at him with unbelieving eyes. You would rather protect your breakfast than your life. Sasuke uttered. Naruto then realized that he had taken his hand away and at a safe distance away from the attack rather than use it to defend himself. Only if it's Ramen, Kurama chuckled. What's the big idea of attacking me anyways, Dedabeo, Naruto said backing away. Sasuke pocketed his kunai, I wanted to measure my strength if I could assassinate you. Is this about yesterday? Naruto asked continuing to eat ramen anyways. No, Sasuke replied instantly, clearly being caught. Naruto laughed and continued his journey to the academy, now fully aware of the last Uchiha behind him. How do you do it? Sasuke asked finally. Do what? Naruto asked tilting his head to give his acknowledgement of the question without turning back. The Bunshin Jutsu. Sasuke said halting. Naruto turned around, I knew it was about that. Answer me, Sasuke demanded. It's just that I have a lot of chakra. And I mean a lot, Naruto said. So, you had it given to you, Sasuke said sarcastically. Says the one with inherited eyes that can control Biju, Naruto said even more sarcastic. Sasuke immediately was in front of him with his kunai out again. How do you know that? Sasuke demanded. Only Uchiha Madara was able to do that and it's not a very well-known fact, even in our clan it wasn't, Sasuke said. I read it somewhere, Naruto lied continuing to walk past Sasuke nervously. He clearly could not answer, oh the 9 tails you are told who is dead. Yeah I have him in my stomach and he told me about the mysterious Sharingan mask eye man who forced him to attack the village. You read somewhere? Sasuke asked. Ada heard it from the old man Hokage, Naruto said crunching the ramen cup and throwing it in a dustbin at the academy's entrance. Sasuke seemed to believe him at that. It was the professor after all. Sasuke was then swarmed by his fangirls for attention, so he snuck away thanking Kami. Sasuke didn't bother him later that day, so he figured that he was satisfied with the answer. Naruto sped towards his apartment when class ended and went and did a freefall on his bed. Shouldn't you be preparing for your exams, Kurama said. I totally forgot about that. Naruto jumped back. But you are going to help me right? Naruto asked in a sing-song way. Shouldn't you be doing this on your own? It's your exam, not mine, Kurama said smirking. No don't do this to me now, Naruto begged, aren't you a part of me? Add on to who I am. TSK, emotional drama again, Kurama grumbled. You know that I won't be of any help in taijutsu and your written exams, except for the history questions, Kurama warned. I know. Why would you know what is shinobi standard number of kunai and at what angles they are thrown? Naruto rehearsed what he had heard umpteen number of times. But you are getting better and better at controlling a human body, Naruto remarked. But taijutsu is different entirely, Kurama said. I know. I just gotta get the muscle memory and then you can do them too after a little practice, Naruto said. You should focus on the immediate threat first, Kurama said. Don't worry. I can get just below average into jutsu. You can create decent ninjutsu for academy level. Get full score in ninjutsu and with a few questions from written exams. I can easily pass, Naruto said. If you get caught. I cannot use your chakra to jutsus without adding a smidge of mine, Kurama said. I don't think there would be high-level sensory ninja there, Naruto said rolling his eyes, even so I can pass if you only help me in the written exams. I'll just be in the slightly below average category instead of above average. You should still prepare. Kurama said finally. I know. I was going to train my bunshins anyways. Which would actually help me rather than doing math problems, Naruto said going to the fridge and taking out a few bananas and leaving the house through the window. Naruto went and trained his bunshin again and again that day until the sun set to no avail. Stupid bunshin jutsu, Naruto muttered getting up and patting the dirt from his clothes to return home. How do you do it? Naruto asked Kurama. I have told you this many times. I am chakra. I am made up of godly amounts of chakra. Why would I have troubles with chakra control? I have full control over it, well your body is too small for your as well as mine chakra to hold so. Yeah. The Kawarami Jutsu and Henji are easy though, Naruto commented nonetheless. That's because encompassing your body in chakra and changing appearance and using chakra to displace two masses use more chakra than producing your chakra into air, Kurama answered. Naruto just accepted it for that and went about his way. Naruto the next day did see something unexpected at the academy. The fangirls club were cornering Hinata, so he got up to tell them to cut it out, but as he heard what that was about he stopped. I saw you following Sasuke-kun yesterday. You like him too right? Don't lie to us, one of them said. Why yes, Hinata said with her index fingers meeting each other. Hinata too. Naruto murmured. Jealous? Kurama asked just to be ignored. That makes you our rival, Ino declared. And no, Hinata said turning red. I won't pursue it, Hinata said flustered. Why? Sasuke-kun is perfect. Sakura said offended on Sasuke's behalf. And no, I mean yes. I am a clan heiress, Hinata managed. So? You think you are above him? He is one too, Sakura yelled. Forehead. Clan heiress cannot marry just anyone they like. There is a lot of politics involved. Especially when it comes to those with blood limits. Ino answered. Hinata nodded. All of them calmed down at that. Well, good for us then, Sakura said and then gained a look of pure evil. Ino? Aren't you a clan heiress too? Sakura asked with a wicked smile. Realization and the implication sunk into Ino as her face paled. Naruto decided to walk away. The exam day had finally come and Naruto was currently appearing his written test. Founding father of Konoha. Senju and Uchiha. Hekkei Genkai of Shadame. Mokuton. Wait, that sounds interesting. Didn't you say he used it to bind you and other tailed beasts as well? Naruto teased. If you remember then take the exam on your own, Kurama threatened. I'm sorry. That on with it already, Kurama interrupted. Naruto got back to work. Uzumaki Naruto. Naruto went to the front to finish the last portion of his exams. Taijutsu was first. To test them at their best physical state and then the written test and all that was left of Gen and Nin. Make a basic Gen jutsu, Mizuki asked. Naruto closed his eyes and switched with Kurama. Tell me the hand signs, Kurama asked. Boar, ox, tiger, snake, Naruto answered. And not only the people in surrounding range but the whole class was caught in it. The illusion was of Naruto sitting on the edge of a giant ramen bowl and then him accidentally dropping and drowning in it, but as he was drowning, he was wolfing down on as much as ramen he could. Naruto took back the control. Hey. Couldn't you have made something normal? Like making trees grow or something? Would that have been fun? Kurama asked. Naruto looked at his laughing classmates and he smiled too. Any sort of attention wasn't unwelcome by him. He had given up actively trying to get attention from people after he made a new friend, but human interaction was still not the same as interaction with Kurama. That was very good, Naruto. Now perform the 3 basic academy ninjutsu. Haruka asked. Naruto did the 2 flawlessly and switched with Kurama for the bunshin. Naruto, why do you close your eyes for the bunshin? Mizuki asked. Hermits helps me concentrate better. Naruto said. It does leave you vulnerable for a moment and that is a shinobi can be the deciding moment that you live or die, practice on it, but you did the jutsu nonetheless so you score full in ninjutsu, Haruka began. While your genjutsu's effective range was larger than all. It was quite easy to detect and to break out of, Mizuki finished. Tallying all your scores, you pass with a 57 out of 100, Haruka said. Naruto smiled and nodded to them and walked back to his seat until he received his hit 8. Naruto waited giddily until the rest of the students got through with their attempts. After long await, Haruka came to the classroom with Mizuki and handed them the hit 8. Naruto took it from the desk that it was placed on and tied it on his forehead proudly. The results were declared one final time with rankings. There were 27 who passed in total. He came in 13th. He was happy with it. He didn't do it by himself so he couldn't be boastfully proud about it, but he didn't feel guilty about cheating either. Teachers at his academy had always ignored his questions and doubts and up to some level actively ostracized and stunted his growth because he was the host of Kurama, so using Kurama was only fair. They didn't know Kurama in the first place. He wasn't the beast everyone thought him to be. The rookie of the year was Uchiha Sasuke, with Aburame Shino coming in second for the place, and the Kunoichi of the year was Haruno Sakura and Katsui Aim, coming as the dead last and failing the exams. This calls for celebration, Naruto told himself. Naruto skipped his way to Ichiraku after academy. He threw off the partition screen and plopped down on the seat, now holding his headband in his hand, showing it to Aim and Tuchi. Digi, Aim Nai I passed, Naruto sang. Congratulations, Naruto. Aim congratulated. Ramen on the house, then Tuchi said smiling. Mizuo. Naruto ordered his favorite ramen. Naruto relished the ramen with utmost delight. I want some cup ramen too, Naruto asked on finishing the bowl, standing up and placing money on the table for them. Am went back into the kitchen and brought what was ordered. Do you want separate chopsticks for all of them or one would do? Different, Naruto answered. So you are a full-on shinobi, earning his own living then, Naruto. Tuchi asked. You won't depend on Hokage-sama anymore. I won't, Naruto said with satisfaction. He liked the sense of independence that came with. He picked up the bag of ramen and made his way out towards his home. On reaching the said place he plopped down on his bed without changing into his night clothes or taking shower. Who do you think my teammates would be? Naruto asked. How am I supposed to know? That Kurama grumbled. You're no fun, Naruto scowled. Taiji would be nice, Naruto said to himself, maybe Shikamaru and Kiba too. Unknown to Naruto, in a meeting, several jonins and academy teachers and the Hokage, the same thoughts were circulating, but with far more stressed. Hokage-sama, this year is filled with clan heirs. I suppose that the clan affairs will be more prevalent than academy performance, Mizuki asked. Yes, I believe putting the Yamanaka, Nara, Akimichi in a team again would give the same results as the previous generation, Hiruzen said. Okizama, this year it's a little different, Iruka drawled out. Different? Different how? Hiruzen asked. I believe the exams did not bring out the best of them, Iruka answered. You suggest the medium is not up to par with the shinobi of the present time? Hiruzen said with a raised brow. No, I did not mean that, Iruka corrected quickly. It's if I name names, Naruto is one of them, his performance is very in uniform. He did great in ninjutsu, but taijutsu and target shooting were terrible, and the written tests too, it was like he picked certain parts that would allow him to pass the exam, and he skipped the rest, Iruka said. Hiruzen's face was lost for a moment in thought before he recollected himself and sighed, we cannot force him. If his value is more than the test's estimate then, there is no way we can estimate that if Naruto doesn't want us to. It's not just about him. Nara Shikamaru. He is just lazy, Iruka said. You concluded that Shikaku-san is lazy. Nobody could have seen that coming, Kakashi said rolling his one eye. I mean, he just surrendered in taijutsu even before the match started, Iruka said much to the unanimous eye of the room, and in questions involving calculations, he did write the process and method to solve it, but didn't actually solve them, Iruka finished. Yamanaka Ino, she too didn't give her all in taijutsu because her outfit and hair would have gotten dirty. Akimichi Chouji was paired to fight against Inyazuka Kiba and he did not want to fight his friend, Iruka continued. The ones who passed all did have descent scores and the system to put the dead last and rookie of the year, the team is still unbalanced compared to other teams. Iruka was cut off. Hiruzen held up his hand, I have heard enough. I believe compatibility as a team should take priority over test scores. Team 7, Uchiha Sasuke, Haruno Sakura, Uzumaki Naruto. True love conquers all. Ino Pig. Naruto thought about the team he was placed in, I don't know. I feel like I would have liked to be with one of those three. Well if the masked Uchiha is still out there. He will come after you one day. You can use this to know the Sharingan on an intimate level through spars and battles, Kurama suggested. You are right, Naruto replied. Thinking in such direction, he walked up to them, want to have lunch together? Sasuke walked away ignoring him and Sakura looked towards Naruto but followed Sasuke wanting a date. Humans disgust me. I don't know how you can coexist with them, Kurama said. They didn't need to be so rude about it, Naruto said. Naruto went back to his seat and took out an apple from his bag and started munching it alone. And alone he was, well alone with his team this time, waiting for his Jonin sensei. All of them were bored and irritated to death. Naruto finally decided enough is enough and got up and placed a duster on top of the door. He is a Jonin, he will never fall for that, Sasuke commented. I know, Naruto said continuing to place it perfectly. He shouldn't have been late, Naruto said huffing, I'm bored. None of them disagreed. They heard the door open and the duster land on a man's head. Naruto laughed heartily while the other two stared. My first impression. Meet me at the roof in 2 minutes, Kakashi said before puffing in smoke. He gave us a time limit impossible to attain, Sasuke said running out of the room. Sakura and Naruto followed his lead. On their way Naruto switched with Kurama and gained lead on both of his teammates, jumping and sprinting away. Naruto reached to find the man who Kurama introduced as his dad's student, had a Kakashi staring at him. Why did you have your eyes closed? Kakashi asked. My sense is heightened when I do and I can do things with more concentration, Naruto lied. He couldn't just tell him that between him and Kurama, the one who is not in control of the body can't see, like how Kurama can't see everything from his seal. With Kurama's smelling sense and hearing range in Naruto's eyes, they function completely normal even with his eyes closed. But to his relief Sakura and Sasuke came panting. Okay, let's get introduction out of the way first, Kakashi said, introduce yourself, your likes, dislikes, hobbies, dreams, things like that. Can you go first? Sakura asked. I am Hada Kakashi. I like some things and dislike some things. Hobbies I don't feel like telling. And my dream is none of your business, Kakashi said. Is he always like this? Naruto asked. How am I supposed to know? This is the first time I am seeing him in WHAT 12 years. I only recognized him because of his covered eye, Kurama said. I am Haruno Sakura, I like, Sakura answered glancing towards Sasuke. I dislike Ino Pig. My hobbies are reading books, and my dream Sakura was a blushing mess by the end of it. Kakashi moved on ignoring that, broody. Sasuke scoffed at the nickname but answered, I am Uchiha Sasuke. I dislike many things and don't like anything in particular. I don't have many hobbies except training. My dream is to kill a certain someone and revive my clan. Kakashi lingered slightly after the intense answer and prompted Naruto to continue. I am Uzumaki Naruto. I like ramen. I dislike the 3 minutes you have to wait for ramen. I like to spending time in the forest and swimming in rivers. Naruto answered, or more like dubbed his answer, that he didn't like spending time in the village and he couldn't stay locked up in his apartment for the entire time, so he went deep into the forests towards the outskirts of the village far away from the populace. My dream is to become a Fuinjutsu master and establish a safe haven for the Uzumaki remnants. Okay, for some background story. How Naruto got buddy-buddy with Kurama would be revealed in a chapter in far future during the reveal that he is a perfect Jinchuriki. Naruto doesn't have the same personality he does in canon. He isn't greedy either. It's just that he doesn't trust anyone. He still will be the forgiving soul that he is, but he will be more distant with others. He doesn't hate them, but sees them with neutrality. He is introverted but isn't shy. He still likes to have the approval and acknowledgement but doesn't go out of his way to get that. Because of which he won't too attached with his team and I'm not going to have him chase after Sasuke's. As for skills, Fuinjutsu master. Naruto. Kakashi made his way to training ground 3, where he had his maybe future genin team waiting for quite a while. He knew that he should at least try being on time or at least try coming up with believable lies. He just shrugged the issue again as he shrugged off the furious pink head shouting at him and accusing him of being lazy and whatnot. The Uchiha just stood there, but his face made it clear as day that he wasn't on his side. Interestingly, Naruto wasn't present. Before accusing me, you should worry about your own team. Where is your third member? Kakashi asked. He has been here as long as we have been, Sakura continued to shout at him. Naruto. Sakura's volume increased multiple folds so much that he wanted to cut his ears to save them from the girly pubescent screech. Naruto came out from behind a tree, running. Did he come? Naruto asked, but he got the answer himself when he saw him wave a lazy hand at him. What were you doing? Kakashi asked him. Nothing, Naruto said, grinning. Kakashi wanted to dig deeper but hesitated, looking the dumb smile on his face. So, about the test. Get one of these, Kakashi said, taking out 2 bells, and you pass. But there are 3 of us, Sakura asked. One fails, Kakashi told them. What do you mean one fails? Naruto asked, frowning. That one of you fails and goes back to academy, Kakashi smiled dumbly at him. What? Shouted all of them. Well, 2 of them and the other conveyed his emotions by glaring with a frown. Better get these if you don't want to go back then, Kakashi smiled. Get into positions when I say start, Kakashi told them, jumping away a few feet. Start. Kakashi said and all of them vanished. He saw the direction that Sasuke and Sakura headed to, but Naruto was too fast to see in the ruckus. All he could see was the orange dash. But he could sense all of them. Especially Naruto, with his hadn't learned to suppress their chakra, so he could not blame them. If he hadn't felt Naruto's chakra before, he would have thought it was a Jonin. It was a disadvantage for the team with him sticking out like that, but an advantage if they needed to bluff their way out of a situation. The first to make move was Naruto, as he had expected. Naruto lunged at him from a branch high up with a kunai in hand. He blocked it with his own, but something that caught him off guard was that Naruto had his eyes closed. Naruto used that to dash away with still his eyes closed. Naruto had told him about his senses sharpening when he closed his eyes, but this was a little unbelievable. Naruto was coherently jumping away, backwards with his eyes closed, and landed on a branch in crouched position. Sasuke approached him from behind and threw out a fireball, which Kakashi dodged easily. Sakura still stayed in hiding, which was the smarter option. They did not have anything to attack him with. Sasuke had his clan scrolls to learn advanced stuff from, but Naruto and Sakura only knew Academy Basic 3, and none of them could be used in battling an enemy much stronger than them or any battle in general. Naruto got into action again, he still had his eyes closed. He got into Kakashi's reach and blew in giant fireball as well. I think I know the difference between the hand signs of a Jinjutsu and a ninjutsu. That too, an Uchiha jutsu which you could never get your hands on, Kakashi spoke casually, just standing in the flames. He released it quickly and found Naruto creeping up on him quietly. He was soon replaced by a log to get some distance between. But still not between the substitution and henge, Naruto said, popping back from the log and going for the bells. Kakashi barely managed to catch him before he got away with the bells. Naruto moved through hand signs again, and this time hand signs for the substitution, he made sure. Naruto was replaced by a log, real one this time. But this wasn't a regular wooden trunk, it was laced with paper bombs. He moved before they could explode, but they exploded. Kakashi patted his vest to extinguish the flames caught on it. It was far too close than he would like. Those paper bombs were different. It wasn't the standard issued one. They exploded faster, it almost skipped the time after the tag is activated. It appeared that Naruto wasn't all talk about him wanting to become a Fuinjutsu master after all. He had already began his journey with small steps. Konoha, well, the entire shinobi world was always in need of seal masters. If Naruto could become a proficient one, matching the reputation of the Uzumaki, then he would be one of the most formidable shinobi to exist in the present day. He didn't have the knowledge required to train Naruto in the art, well to be blunt, he was clueless when it came to seals, and so was most of the world, which made Seal Master even more dangerous. He would have to pull a lot of strings if he wanted to help Naruto reach there. Sasuke took advantage of him being caught off guard and plunged at the sight of his weakness. Sasuke wasn't hard to deal with at all, he wasn't supposed to be. They should have gotten that by now and started working together. Kakashi went and dealt with them quickly so that they could get on with the test and see if they would work as a team in the next phase of the test. He rounded up Sasuke easily, who was out in the open, defenseless. He planted a very angry Uchiha that day. Naruto blended into the forest to hide his presence, smartly but futile. He decided to take out Sakura first with ninjutsu and brought her sagged over his shoulder and tied her to the post. He turned to see Naruto directly into his hiding place, which surprised Naruto that he yelped and made him confirm his location with the crack of the twig. Kakashi chased after him, but only to get blasted again. This time when he jumped away, he was caught in another blast. Naruto had traps laid out everywhere. Well, that's what he deserved to be late, he guessed. Battlefield laden with traps and disadvantages. It took him longer than he thought it would to get a hold of Naruto. He just kept using substitution until every tree that he put paper bombs on were exhausted, and even after that to get away from him. He ended up with Naruto after hours of him slipping away. He plopped him down and uprooted the planted Sasuke. He handed them 2 lunch boxes. You cannot share with Sakura. Regain your energy and we will go at it again, and if this time you fail to get the bells, you fail. Saying that, he walked away and vanished. He stayed to keep an eye on them, though they didn't seem to notice that. He couldn't hear what they were talking about, but Sasuke started and after a while offered Sakura his lunch. He smiled at that. Naruto did the same too, following Sasuke, but Sakura was too busy eating from Sasuke's hands to notice Naruto. He appeared in front of them and took infinite delight in seeing their frightened faces. "All of you pass," Kakashi said, smiling. "What?" chorused the new Genins. He proceeded to lecture them about teamwork and value of teammates above all else, missions. "Bullshit," Naruto spat. Kakashi was about to retort, saying that if he felt that teamwork was what he insinuated, then he wasn't ready to become a genin, but Naruto continued. "You expect teamwork from us by day 1? Naruto crossed his arms, "We barely know each other." "Didn't you go to the academy together?" Kakashi asked. "That doesn't mean that we became best friends. I haven't even talked to them directly yet," Naruto said. Kakashi raised a questioning eyebrow on that. "Like you ever talk," Sakura said. "We passed, didn't we? Why are you upset?" "I'm just saying that the test is unfair," Naruto said. "Well, I will voice your concerns in my report then," Kakashi told him. "One more thing, what specifications have you made to the paper bombs?" Kakashi asked Naruto. Naruto beamed at that. "Instead of one side, I draw them on both sides. As simple as that. It takes much less time to activate, twice as fast," Naruto told him. "But then you wouldn't be able to stick that onto any surface with chakra," Kakashi stated. "It would burst as soon as you try to." "Yes, I cut the bark of the trees to make a pocket-like shape and kept a bunch tucked in there," Naruto told him. "Creative," Kakashi remarked. "Meet me here next week at 7 in the morning for your first mission," Kakashi told them and then bid his goodbye with a wave and vanishing in a swirl of leaves. Break. Kakashi made his way to the Hokage Tower to hand in his report. He was getting weird stares because of his state. Naruto really pulled his reputation down. He entered the room after being prompted by the assistant to do so. He bowed his head to the Hokage and noticed Asuma and Kurane already sitting there. It seems like they were the only other teams that passed. "Ah. I assumed you were late for your own tardiness. Seems like I was proved wrong," Hiruzen said, looking at his tattered clothes and burn marks on his clothes. There wasn't mock in the tone, but there definitely was mirth. He for a fact knew that the Hokage wouldn't have missed to see Naruto's test with the crystal ball. But he knew the other two in the room were dying to ask about it and their repressed snorts and giggles were indication enough. "Report?" the Hokage asked. "Uzumaki Naruto should be given access to the sealing techniques, especially Uzumaki archives," Kakashi began. "Oh, and he has a fetish to keep his eyes closed, maybe an obsession even. I don't own Naruto." Naruto walked into the Hokage's office the following day after his bell test with determination brimming in his eyes. He waited until the secretary informed the old man about his request to meet him. It was only a few minutes before he was called in. "Hello there, Naruto-kun, how can I help you?" Hiruzen began with a smile. "You remember what you promised?" Naruto asked without beating around the bush. "And that would be?" Hiruzen asked. "You see, I'm getting quite old. You said that you would allow me to have the scrolls left behind by my clan when I was older," Naruto reminded him, or more so daring him to say something otherwise. Ah, yes. About that, Hiruzen said. I am a genin now. That means an adult by shinobi law, Naruto stated. Yes, yes. You don't have to sell your point, Hiruzen said with a dismissive hand, in fact, your new sensei suggested me to do the same. He did? Naruto asked surprised. He was quite impressed with your interests and dreams, Hiruzen told him, he told me about your modified paper bomb. Would you mind making one for me now? Hiruzen asked, what change did you make in the formula? Naruto went up to him like a puppy wagging his tail. Hiruzen handed him a normal piece of paper and ink with brush, and Naruto took it dumbly smiling. It's actually a failed product of something I wanted to do, Naruto told him. Naruto tore a piece of paper and started painting it. Normal ones are made by just applying chakra into the kanji, and it starts spreading when chakra is activated until it bursts, Naruto said continuing his work. I wanted it to be bigger, the explosion, I mean. I tried painting the entire paper with chakra-laced ink and then draw kanji on top of it. Naruto said blowing air to dry it. That way it only would require to just activate it to blow. It would seem like a ordinary painted paper, but it would have an explosive kanji on it, Naruto told him drawing kanji of explode on top of it. But like the present one, I couldn't stick it to anywhere and landmine paperbombs are useless most of the time, ninja don't have a predictable movement pattern or movement pattern at all, Naruto continued, but. Hiruzen interrupted him by taking away the paper, but the problem was that this one would detonate even with slightest of chakra, he said quickly dipping it in his water glass and destroying it. Even with the traces of chakra left behind in the air, after performing any jutsu Hiruzen said looking at him with a contemplative expression, that would be dangerous to carry around and time-taking to make it on the go. Yes, that and instead of making the chakra spread slowly, it required to be a burst of chakra which is only possible by having it in contact, Naruto answered. And that would kill the user as well. It's suicidal, Hiruzen stated. It is, Naruto agreed all too happily. Although the happiness was originated by his creation, the fact that the creation was a suicidal time bomb didn't help. Anyways. You would have to visit the library every time though, Hiruzen moved on. Huh? Why? Naruto crossed his arms, why can't I have it? Those are very dangerous as well as important to just lay around at your apartment, Naruto-kun, Hiruzen answered impatiently, they would be safer there with constant guard. Naruto couldn't argue with that. He wanted him to have them because he owned them, but he would prefer them not being stolen away or worse, lost by him. They would not deny me entry? Naruto asked, like before. No, that was the public library, these would be located in the shinobi library, Hiruzen said uncomfortably. On the contrary they would only allow you, not even me. Only Uzumaki would have access and you are the last one. Last known Uzumaki, Naruto emphasized. Hiruzen nodded understandingly. Then can I go there now? Naruto asked. Hiruzen stayed silent for a moment. I would need to update them first. They won't allow you entry now, Hiruzen told him. Naruto frowned. I will make sure to have every preparation done by tomorrow, Hiruzen promised. Okay, Naruto's frown turned into a pout, I don't know where this library is though. The library is near the Hokage faces, but clan-specific knowledge is a little further away, connected to the library, Hiruzen told him. I will send someone to show it to you tomorrow, Hiruzen said. Naruto thanked him and walked out of the room, missing the sad smile on Hiruzen's face. Next day. Naruto excitedly followed Kakashi. They were going to go on their first mission. They would get to beat up villains and save people. But not before he reminded the Sandaime of what he had promised yesterday. He just got a dismissive wave with reassurances that it was in process. Why would just telling the gourd people to let him entry take so long? Kurama had then pointed out that the world didn't work according to a 13-year-old's logic. Naruto had happily pointed out that it didn't according to an eternal being's logic as well. Especially one who has tails. They would get to go on dangerous and awesome missions, right? Naruto could keep patience to wait if he had something to do. So why was Kakashi stopping at a house? A civilian house too as it seemed. A gruff-looking man walked out. He burst into a series of coughing right after. He did appear to be weak despite his appearances. He was redder than normal as well. Kakashi handed him the scroll and then followed the man deeper into the house. They were then welcomed to a vast and open area. Naruto looked at Kakashi for answers. At to work, Kakashi said smiling. I don't like that look, Naruto thought. Kurama too was laughing uncontrollably for some reason. What do you mean? Naruto asked. At to plowing, Kakashi said again. Why? Naruto asked. Well, the clients don't like it when you don't actually do the mission you are assigned to do, Kakashi said completely nonchalant. Naruto screeched, reality sinking in. Kakashi's huffing laughter and Kurama's loud laugh in his head didn't help. Why didn't you tell me? Naruto demanded. And missed that. Kurama replied still laughing. You suck, Naruto commented digging dirt. 2 hours into work, Naruto just plopped down under the shadow of a tree to catch breath and take a break. Kakashi suddenly appeared in front of him using Shunshin. Naruto let out a startled yelp but calmed down seeing who it was. "I am just resting for a bit. I'll get to work," Naruto pleaded. Still smiling, Kakashi began, "Hokage-sama has sent for you." Naruto looked behind him to see a man in the Konoha's Jonin outfit. Looking at his eyes, he was a Hyuga. Naruto leaped up excited, "Is this about the library?" The man just nodded his head. "Wait, that's no fair. Naruto gets to go and we have to continue working," Sakura complained. "It's just for some time. He will be back by our next mission," Kakashi told her. Naruto let his disappointment show on his face about it. He quickly moved to get away from the labor work. The man who had come to escort him didn't like him being rushed, it seemed, as he nodded his leave to Kakashi and moved in a steady pace. Naruto was forced to adapt the pace as well. Naruto was then led behind the Hokage Mountains to see a huge structure standing there, but it seemed very insignificant compared to the mountain. He supposed that the library would be the primary target of any and all infiltrators, so it being in a remote location made sense. Only shinobi would ever be able to visit there, so no one would be able to disguise themselves as a civilian, and taking identity of an unknown shinobi amidst other shinobi of the village would be the stupidest thing ever. The only way left was to take the identity of some shinobi, and they would have to do intense research of whoever they are taking the identity of and tackle through the person's behavior, reactions, friends and everything. Kurama didn't say anything, so Naruto knew that his thoughts held some logic at least. It had been the best way for Naruto to overcome his shortcomings. He had been just brushing off things he couldn't understand before because no one was there to explain it to him, but after Kurama had become Kurama and not Kyuubi, Naruto always tried to think of reasons or logic behind everything, and Kurama would make fun of him if he just wandered off far away from the actual or plausible reasoning. To say that it solved Naruto's problems would be wrong. Kurama had superior logical thinking compared to Naruto, but still that didn't mean Kurama understood the way of humans, especially shinobi. Kurama would just rant about humans if he didn't seem to find the answer to anything. Not that Naruto thought of Kurama any less because of it. Why would he understand humans to great depths? Humans don't know every aspect of other creatures, hell even other humans. Humans just have a basic understanding of animals' way of thinking. Naruto doubts that they would have even gotten where they are if there weren't talking animal summons. They entered and Naruto felt like he entered a different world altogether. Most of the library was carved into the mountain with just the entrance built outside. There was very little light coming in, so the entire place was filled with candles everywhere. It gave the entire place a golden red glow, enhanced by the afternoon sunlight, cracking in. He realized that he had fallen behind looking around and the Hyuga had moved forward and now was waiting for him patiently. Naruto quickly moved to join him. His running steps pulled several head away from whatever they were reading, but nobody said anything and they went back to whatever they were doing. Naruto didn't miss the recognition in their eyes though. They walked deep into the library into an isolated hallway where there were several shinobi on guard. He saw a huge door with 2 men and a woman guarding it. "I believe Hokage-sama has informed about the inheritance," the Hyuga said. The one in the lead nodded and moved aside, but another one cut them off and then placed a hand on him, and then Naruto felt a sudden gust of sensation throughout his body. "You think someone can replicate that chakra?" the first one said in a hushed tone. Naruto knew what that chakra meant, but they didn't know that he did. The Hyuga just coughed to remind them to not talk about it in front of Naruto. "Procedure is procedure," the man said calmly. Naruto realized that the first one was a sensory nin. The second one is a genjutsu user, Kurama said. "Your mother went through this every time she came to visit. Your father is checking for genjutsu or henge techniques laced on youth." It made sense. "And the third one?" Naruto asked. "I don't know, but most probably a combat specialist," Kurama answered. They then proceeded deeper. There was a never-ending and wide hallway. There wasn't even a slight trace of sunlight, but there were several flame torches on both sides. It was deadly silent. Naruto realized that they were heading underground as the temperature dropped a little. "Kurama, switch with me and check if there is anybody else's here," Naruto said. Naruto made it look like he was looking around the place so the Hyuga would not get a direct look at his closed eyes and suspect anything. Kurama then tilted Naruto's head into the air to get a better smell. "There are," Kurama said, and Naruto quickly switched and opened his eyes. "All of them are well hidden," Kurama said. "We won't probably be able to switch in here. They would get suspicious," Kurama told him. Naruto felt a little satisfied seeing how secure everything was. He for sure knew that he would have most of the scrolls missing by a month. 1 week, Kurama bet. Naruto ignored him and continued. "This is where we part ways," the Hyuga said. But we still haven't reached," Naruto said in confusion. "Beyond the next walls lies clan secrets and treasures of several Konoha clans except the Hyuga. It is embedded with seals that block the Byakugan for safety reasons. I don't wish to bring trouble to my clan without intending to, the Hyuga said. There would be someone to help you, the man said before departing. Naruto continued, and after the next set of entrants, he saw a woman waiting there for him. "Ah, I see you are here, Naruto-kun. Follow me." Naruto recognized her. She was the old man's daughter-in-law. They had a few interactions before but not much. It was only Konohamaru's inspiration of pranks that she didn't like about Naruto, so that was fine. She was a civilian, but not she seemed to understand Naruto's situation better than the others it seemed. She led him through the complex architecture. He saw many clan symbols on the way leading into rooms guarded by people of the respective clans. The Uchiha and the Senjus were the largest and next were the Akimichi. The Senjus had been completely sealed off and the Uchihas too it seemed. "Here," she said. Naruto was a little disappointed to say the least. It was the smallest one he had seen. But then again the Uzumaki weren't a clan of Konoha so they wouldn't have much. "Naruto-kun, you have to cut your hand and bleed on this seal," she told him. "Eh? Do I have to cut every time I come?" Naruto asked. She fidgeted a bit, ahem, it's like. The other ones are chakra signature based. Blood and genetic material were used in old times, but because of the way of life for a shinobi, it is very easy for enemies to attain that on missions, she explained. In your case, you see you have very large chakra reserves and little control, so we don't know how the seal will react, she continued. How are those related? Naruto asked aloud. She's fooling you. It's not your reserves. They are worried about my chakra being mixed with yours, Kurama answered. I only have little knowledge in shinobi art, Naruto-kun. I have cleaned up the place and light up the candles, she tried to change the subject. Naruto owed an understanding mentally but shrugged physically and then but his thumb and then drew a line on the seal which disappeared instantly and the door unlocked swinging both sides. It felt so dramatic. The door was then flung closed after he entered. He looked around to see a neat and clean room with scrolls and books of all sizes stacked in bookshelves and piled up larger scrolls. He pulled one of them out and opened it to be witness to the most beautiful calligraphy he had ever seen. It was only expected by few ninjutsu masters. The Hokage is trying to earn your trust, Kurama said. What do you mean? Naruto asked. He could have directly sent the woman to you, but he sent the Hyuga out of all people who clearly wasn't allowed here. He wanted to show that you can trust him and he would not exploit it really. Aren't you digging a little too deep? Kurama just huffed, clearly unsure himself. His trust in the old man has been wavering slowly as the years pass and he isn't speaking a word to him about Kurama or his parents. Maybe the old man knows that and is trying to regain his utmost trust and blind devotion again. Naruto shrugged that thought and began looking around. The seal my father used was called Reaper Death Seal, right? Yes, but what use would you have with it? You would die right after, Kurama questioned. I just want to know more about the seal. I think I should understand it completely if it is going to be on my body. Are you sure that is all you want? Kurama asked skeptical. Of course. Naruto said indignantly, I want answers, but not that badly that I would die to be eternally sealed in the Shinigami's tummy. Naruto spent the next couple of hours searching, but to no avail. It's not here, Naruto muttered aloud. I didn't get everything. The old man is still hiding things, Naruto shouted frustrated. I can't even call him out. I would give away that I know about Kurama, and more so that I know Kurama well enough that he would tell me about the seal. Quit yapping. It's not the end of the world. It's forbidden anyways, Kurama said. Learn those chains or something, that would actually help you on missions and combat. Missions? Naruto jolted up. I forgot about my team, Naruto said hurrying out into the dusk. You're still here? Aili. A little over a week had passed since Naruto had been visiting the library. He was quite relieved when came to find out that it wasn't the most visited places in Konoha. Naruto had been observing that non-clan oriented shinobi frequented place more than the clans. He supposed that the clan's members would not want to come to the library when they had older members to personally mentor them. For them the library was more likely a safe house. Naruto shouldn't have been surprised when he saw both Sasuke and Sakura in the library on an off day. Kakashi-sensei was sent away on a mission and he hadn't assigned them to any homework or onto another sensei, so they were free to do whatever they wanted. He supposed that Sasuke would be training Uchiha-oriented ninja arts and Sakura, not having any other source of knowledge, seeked out the library. Or followed Sasuke. Sakura went to say hi to Sasuke as soon as she saw him while he just brushed past them, only making awkward eye contact as the only acknowledgement of their presence. He could see Sakura hide her sadness and frustration as both him and Sasuke went past her deeper into the library where she wasn't allowed access. Naruto understood how unfair it is for her. Not having the support to improve herself and being expected to improve. It was the same with him. The teachers and the Hokage always expected him to do better without ever telling him what to do or how to do something different than he was doing. It became more of a common thing between them, coming across each other at the library. He saw Sasuke far more often than Sakura. Sasuke had very vast set of clan jutsus and techniques just waiting for him to master, so he must spend an awful lot of his time here because he never sees Sasuke around the village. Naruto had much less but much more complicated scrolls. He need constant guidance in it, but he didn't have anyone. He didn't want to take it to the old man because he was still angry at him for not providing him with the entirety of the Uzumaki archives. He knew he would have to come up with something if he ever wanted to progress, but he needed some time to cool off. He started with the adamantine chains. They didn't require writing or drawing kanji. It was far more difficult than he thought it would be. I thought, Naruto panted falling on his knees, I would never in my life would feel chakra exhausted with this much chakra. It was your clan that developed this. Logically they would take their reserves into account, Kurama said sarcastically. First I find out that dad's famous jutsu wasn't his in the first place, but the second Hokage's so I don't get to inherit it, and then now this. Naruto ranted. All these years this much chakra was the boon of my life, and now this much is not enough. Why are you directly jumping to the final step? Kurama asked. Don't start with 9 chains from the get-go. Your mother started from 1, but you have more chakra than what she had when she starts. You could begin with 2 or 3. It would have been fun to see people when the demon Kyuubi brat summoned 9 chains though, Naruto pouted. I wish mom was here to help me with the chains, Naruto said. You know that no matter what you are like, I would not miss the chance to kill her again if I get one, Kurama said seriously. Naruto didn't say anything. He knew that between all 3 of the Uzumaki, Kurama's life had been the hardest with his mother. He was literally nailed into a boulder with these chains for decades. Naruto was just grateful that Kurama didn't have any problem seeing the chains again. Beast or not, fear doesn't see reason. Even if Kurama knew, he would never do anything like that. Naruto shrugged it off, not wanting to touch the subject, and moved on. Okay, project the chakra to the back, shape into chains and push, Naruto repeated the vague instructions. But this time he made reduce the number to 3 and it shot out of his back, pulsing pain through his back like tearing it apart, tearing through his skin, jacket and shirt. It's blue. Kurama blurted, stupefied. Naruto turned around to see a skyish blue chains embedded into the roof and walls. He wasn't bleeding from his back as he expected though. Naruto dispelled his chakra and plopped flat into the ground from his kneeling position. Does it hurt every time? Naruto asked weakly. I don't think so. She wouldn't use them to do house chores otherwise, Kurama said, contemplating. What color did my mother's chain have? Naruto asked, remembering Kurama's words. Golden, Kurama answered. I think it projects the chakra color. You have blue. Your mother's had been golden yellow, Kurama said, and the first one as well. Now that I think about it, I think my first host had more of a golden color, well your mother had a yellowish hue to it and the chains as well, Kurama said. Does that mean Uzumaki have a distinct chakra color? I know that medic jutsu all show green chakra, Naruto. I don't know, Kurama said, guess you will have to find that out on your own. But it is possible. My first host was the clan heir, so she inherited chakra far stronger than your mother who was still a pure blood, but just inferior chakra, well you are a half-blood, Kurama theorized. Naruto got up slowly and took off his jacket. Will this happen every time? Naruto asked. Yes, that it will, Kurama said, she used to produce chains from hands for that reason, and not her back. But that will be no good for combat or anything if hands would be occupied. It will be more of a disadvantage, Naruto said. During missions? Yes. Getting a heavy pot down to clean? No, Kurama answered. I just know this is going to be very expensive, Naruto sighed. A few days later. Neji walked towards the outskirts of the village in the forest late evening. He reached a clearing where he came often to just get away from everything. Whenever he decided that he had enough of his green spandex team or whenever he thought he might strangle someone in his clan out of his frustration. Today it was his clan. Hiashi-sama had some free time today and was able to train his daughters, so he had informed Hinata-sama's sensei that she wouldn't be able to go, and he had also done the same with him and informed Gai-sensei of his absence. Both Hanabi-sama and Hinata-sama needed sparring partners who were around the same weight and body size. Hinata-sama had been promoted to genin just recently, so she must have only D ranks now, but he had been a genin for over a year now and was getting some C and B ranks very rarely. They had a short-term C rank mission today which he had to miss because of it. Not that Hiashi-sama knew about it. He knew that Hiashi-sama must think that it was helpful for Neji as well, but sparring with inferior opponents was of no use to Neji. He tried to push those thoughts away as he neared his destination. What surprised him was that someone was already there. By the clothes hanging from the tree, he instantly realized who. Only one person wore that orange jacket in the entire elemental nations. He was reluctant to give away his presence because he had expected it to be empty as always, so he hadn't put on his headband or bandages to hide his seal. The boy hadn't been aware of his presence, it seemed. Did he just come for a soak in the pond? There were better ones for that purpose. This one had lotuses blooming in them and thus not good for swims. Not great for normal purposes, but was helpful for water walking practice and why he had found it in the first place. He peeked out from behind a tree to see the boy submerged in the water, bare body with just his pants on, and on closer inspection he could see chains. Bluish kai chains were extended from his torso and moving slowly in water, cutting through it smoothly. When he surfaced to breathe, his head snapped towards him. Niji stiffened but came out of hiding, all while ocean blue eyes followed him and his own pale ones, switching from his ocean blue eyes to look at the sky blue chains. Naruto seemed to notice his eyes, and then the chains disappeared in a heartbeat. He didn't say anything and just stood there for a while not knowing what to do. Naruto stared at him all the while, but then he realized that it wasn't him that Naruto was staring at, it was the curse of his life, the seal on his forehead. I didn't know this place was occupied, Niji broke the silence. Naruto began swimming towards the shore and walked out of the pond, water dripping from his body. No worries. I was about to leave anyways, Naruto said and got his shirt on and hung the jacket off his shoulders. Doesn't look like it, Niji stopped Naruto from leaving. Huh? Naruto asked, turning around. Niji just pointed toward the campfire Naruto had built and two fishes hung on sticks, cooking by the fire. I forgot about those, Naruto said, making his way there. He picked them up in a lemon too, which Niji had failed to notice. Naruto cut it with a kunai and squeezed it on both the fishes and handed him one. Here, Naruto offered. Niji slowly took it from his hand. Thank you, Niji said. How did you know I was here? Niji asked what had been bothering him. Huh? Naruto asked. I didn't make any noise, I made sure of it, and even then you were underwater, you couldn't have heard me, and neither smell me. You were turned around so you couldn't have seen me either, Niji pointed out. Instincts. Naruto said. Niji didn't believe him one bit. He knew Naruto didn't push him to answer though, if he didn't want to reveal his techniques, he understood. He was the same, the Chunin exams were in a couple of months, and he too had been preparing secretly. Not even Guy-sensei knew that he had mastered 64 palms. Is that a seal? Naruto asked hesitantly. Niji's defensive instincts kicked in. Non-Hyugas weren't supposed to know about it. It wasn't the biggest secret as any team who had a Hyuga knew about it, and the high-ranking people such as Hokage, the Jonin commander and such people knew about it too, but it was something not told to children of the village. It was something that was ignored by everybody except the one the seal was placed on. Niji nodded. How did you know? I am in Uzumaki and I want to become a Fuinjutsu master, Naruto answered. It's a no-pattern seal, that means no written seal formula in your forehead, Naruto began nervously. The real seal is ingrained in your brain, right? Naruto finished. How did you know? Niji asked, frozen in place, feeling most vulnerable he has ever felt since his father died. I read about such seals, Naruto answered hesitantly. Most of the seals known in Konoha are brought by Uzumaki, Naruto whispered silently. Niji's urge to strangle someone returned. Enjoy. Naruto locked the door of his apartment, getting inside, and sighed a long suffering sigh. I thought he was going to kill me right there, Naruto said, walking up to his closet. He would have if you told a Byakugan wielder that you can see 360, Kurama chuckled. Even they can't see complete 360, Kurama added. Is that what their eye does? Naruto asked. There was a girl with those eyes in academy. One of the many things, Kurama answered. It can see chakra pathways in and through your body. You know more about the Byakugan than the Sharingan, Naruto scowled. Can you remind me which one is your weakness? Kurama didn't respond to Naruto, so he continued. And not to mention Sasuke's mother was my mother's best friend, according to what you told me, Naruto continued. You had literally 3 lifetimes and now mine to get to know it, Naruto said, slipping into his nightwear. Sphere was a Hyuga on your mother's team, Kurama grumbled. Naruto oohed. Why were you turned the other way when I surfaced anyways? Naruto muttered aloud. Kurama huffed but didn't answer. Naruto was used to being ignored by Kurama when he bothered him too much, but he knew this was different. Kurama didn't lie, but Kurama had a tendency to act all high and mighty when he tried to change subjects or wanted omission of some details. Come on. Tell me. There was a fish. What? Naruto frowned, not understanding what he heard. There was a fish, Kurama said hesitantly. A fish? Naruto burst into laughing. Kurama, with all things considered, was just like a kid sometimes. He acted even sillier and more childish than him. He was more curious about certain things more than him, which he understood because after living as long as he had, he never had the chance to observe a living fish. Kurama wasn't in best of his mental state with his previous hosts to indulge in such sundry things before. Was it a new kind? One that we haven't seen? Naruto asked Dot. But before he could get an answer he heard a knock on the door. Naruto opened the door to find Sasuke standing there with a frown on his face. "Kakashi is back and has summoned us to the Hokage Tower," Sasuke told, crossing his arms. "Now?" Naruto asked, looking at the clock pointing to 7 at night. "Yes," Sasuke answered, his frustration clearly visible. Naruto accepted that and went back. "I'll be down in a minute, I need to change first, wait for me." Naruto quickly put on his orange pants and a black t-shirt and headed out. He saw Sakura waiting there as well. She seemed to not like Naruto's arrival though. Maybe her alone time with Sasuke was ruined. He didn't press further as Sasuke immediately started walking, seeing Naruto. No one said anything as they made their way until they saw Kakashi leaning against a wall lazily, waiting for them. "Why did you call us sensei?" Naruto asked without beating around the bush. "We have a mission," Kakashi answered straight away. "Now?" Sakura asked, disbelieving. "Yes, a shinobi is sent on mission on a minute's notice for days and sometimes months. It will teach you to adapt to the lifestyle," Kakashi told them. "You want to teach this right after your long-term mission?" Naruto asked skeptically. "That's right," Kakashi said nonchalantly, starting to walk. They followed him grumpily. "You will have babysitting duty today," Kakashi told them. "What?" Sakura asked. "Another D rank," Sasuke spat out. Now, don't take it too harshly. These also have benefits which you don't understand now," Kakashi placated Sasuke. "Tell me, how will babysitting help me kill someone?" Sasuke demanded, each word laced in venom. "As I have already told you, Sasuke," Kakashi sighed, "we will talk about this later." "We are here," Kakashi said, stopping before a house. It seemed like it wasn't their first conversation on that subject, and neither did it seem like the next would be the last. The house was located in the near areas of the Hokage Tower, which had very less crime rate and tight security because of its location, so usually only wealthy people lived in these regions, and it was very evident from the size of it. Kakashi went over formalities of introductions and such with the owners of the house, while Naruto glanced around the house in awe. Kakashi returned to them, bidding both of the parents, he assumed, goodbye. "The baby is fed and he is sleeping in his room, which is next doors. All we have to do is just keep guard," Kakashi told them as they went deeper into the house. "I'll take the first shift," Naruto said. The sooner he got this over with, the sooner he would be able to go to peaceful slumber. "There are no shifts," Kakashi said, smiling. "What do you mean?" Naruto asked, already dreading the answer. "They commissioned for 3 genins to guard. If they wanted one, then they would have hired one," Kakashi told them. "They are wealthy merchants who have to attend to a bidding auction tonight and will be back tomorrow," Kakashi explained the mission. "The auction is a big event and most of the wealthy people of the Land of Fire are going there tonight, so it is a prime opportunity for business rivals, thieves, kidnappers to get into action, so they hired a Chunin, but no one was available, so you 3 make up for that," Kakashi said. "All 3 of us as a team are equivalent of 1 Chunin?" Sakura asked. "No," Kakashi answered her, "you were only chosen because they got a Jonin and the 3 of you at the price of a Chunin." Kakashi's face was far too smug for him to just say that without implying that they were next to worthless now. "He really shouldn't be the one going on and on about teamwork," Naruto commented, "the sensei is a part of the team as well. The kid is a 2-year-old and is just next doors, so don't make much noise," Kakashi said, plopping down in the corner of the room and flicking out his orange book. The room did have furniture and other accommodations to sit, but Kakashi still sat down on the floor. Naruto assumed it was some sort of policy or morale to not use any of the client's belongings without their consent. He sat down as well, under a window, and soon enough Sasuke and Sakura joined them on the floor, making a square of kinds. It was kind of like they were camping, with candlelights glowing in the room and the moonlight peeking in. It was colder for him as he didn't have his jacket on, so he truly felt like he was under the open night skies. He moved places, not wanting to catch a cold by the morning. That reminded him of his torn jacket. He needed to come up with something to find a way around the chains, so he started brainstorming ideas, having nothing better to do. It was roughly around a few minutes after the shrieking wails resounded the house. "I think the baby woke up," Naruto said. "You think?" Sakura said irritatedly. Kakashi always dumped all kinds of work, from mundane chores to heavy load work on them, so when he himself stood up and went inside the room, they were more than surprised. "You think he would leave attending to a baby to orphans like you?" Kurama huffed. Now that Kurama pointed it out to him, it did make sense. He was orphaned at birth and lived an isolated life with little experience about taking care of babies, and Sasuke was orphaned at a very young age as well. Sakura and Sasuke seemed to understand the same thing with the help of a tailed beast, so Sakura got up to help Kakashi, while both Sasuke and Naruto were left behind sitting awkwardly listening. "Sensei, don't hold him like that." Sakura's voice dominated the cries. Well, it seemed like Kakashi wasn't very good with babies either. It was confirmed when Kakashi walked out with a sheepish smile on his face, almost guilty. It took a few minutes, but the cries died down and Sakura tiptoed out, disheveled, tangled hair and lips pressed in a thin line. She didn't even bother to fix her hair and tied it in a lazy bun, not caring enough to appear her best for Sasuke, which told a lot. Kakashi took out a scroll and threw it toward Sakura. "Is he hungry?" "That's a go to babysitting kid," Kakashi told her. "No, no. The blanket had slid off and he was cold," Sakura answered. "Why do you have this on you anyways?" "I got it for the mission," Kakashi answered. "It's quite famous in scroll shops among shinobi," Kakashi said. "Then I will have it back," Kakashi said, extending his arms to catch the scroll. "I borrowed it anyways, I am a bit low on cash," Kakashi explained. "How are you low on cash? Didn't you just return from a long-term mission?" Naruto asked. Kakashi actually looked away and laughed slightly. "I'm not really good at managing my money. And I lost a bet," Kakashi said, sighing. Naruto and Sakura groaned. "Never mind that," Kakashi said, "so I decided to make this a learning experience for you all." "What are we learning again?" Sasuke asked. "As I said, it's adapting your new routine and breaking the habit of doing things around the clock as you did in academy," Kakashi answered. "And if you pay attention to the mission you would pick up things that come from experience," Kakashi continued lecturing. "You will have to do things beyond the scope of the mission to ensure the success of a mission or smooth progress, like buying supplies like I did today from your own pocket." Sasuke did shut up at that. "Sealing scrolls," Kurama stated. "What about them?" Naruto asked. "It unseals sharp weapons without being torn," Kurama said. "Yes, and what about? You mean the chains?" "You are right. I could inscript something like that and it on my shirt." "You are a genius," Naruto exclaimed. Naruto then zoned out others around him and fished out a sealing scroll and began to furiously try and dissect its formula. "Naruto, let's go," Kakashi told him. "Where?" Naruto asked. "Mission is over, our clients are back," Kakashi said. Naruto did a daub take on that. He looked outside the window to see the light cracking in from clouds, marking dawn. Naruto put away the scroll and got up and dusted his pants. "You know, it won't do you any good if you are this distracted during missions," Kakashi said. "Would you have even noticed if enemies sneaked in the room and killed their target?" Kakashi lectured him. "What would you have done if we were not here?" Kakashi questioned. "Kurama would have alerted me," Naruto thought. "I'm sorry, sensei," Naruto said, rubbing the back of his neck with his hand. It was way too casual and nonchalant for Kakashi to believe that Naruto actually meant it, but he didn't want to do this in front of the clients, so he relented. "You all can go rest, we will start training at noon," Kakashi dismissed them. Naruto, instead of resting his body, decided his work in progress was more important. So he was in the library scribbling down notes onto a scroll while studying the contents of another which had details of yet another. "I think this would do," Naruto commented. He pressed his hand into the scroll just to see nothing happen. He expected it to pass through it. "PSK, worthless," Kurama said. "Wait," Naruto said, frustrated. "Oh." Naruto said all of a sudden, "I'm stupid." "Something new?" Kurama joked. "Ha ha," Naruto said dryly, sarcasm in every breath. "Maybe it will work if I coat my hand with chakra," Naruto said. He did just that to see his hand pass through it. "Yes." Naruto jumped happily. He just to check did the same with a chain and it worked as well. "Now the problem is," Naruto sighed, "how do I get this on my shirt?" "Ink will smudge away with sweater water," Naruto said. "Why did you even bother with this if it already realized this?" Kurama asked. "I have an idea, but I don't know if I can find someone willing to cooperate," Naruto said. "Or someone who would dedicate their time and effort in the first place," Naruto said. "We can try at least," Kurama said. Naruto did agree with that. It had been a long day for Kakashi. First with a babysitting gourd mission, which would be one of his worst missions. He had many missions in Anbu and as a jonin, but the panic he had felt when the loud wails started is something he would never forget. He had accepted that they would have to hear the cries until the clients came back next morning. He really should not have taken a babysitting duty considering Naruto's, Sasuke's and his own childhood. He did not know what he would have done without Sakura. He had been a genin for a very short time before he made his way up and had not realized the pain genins go through. He would rather battle a foe than deal with that. That's why he was still single, maybe. And then training that day hadn't been productive at all. Sakura was just tired of doing chakra exercises, all of them were, but she had already mastered the one he had given them and was just repeating it. Sasuke on one hand, with a hurt ego, said that he wasn't able to sleep in the morning and therefore was tired. Kakashi would have been smug if it wasn't Sasuke. He knew Sasuke already had trouble with that, courtesy of his own brother tormenting him after killing off his clan. Sasuke had been long bothering him about just doing D ranks and demanding a higher ranked mission and saying that he was ready for it. Kakashi had just been stalling him for now. Naruto on the other hand came tumbling down with red eyes. He would have almost mistaken it for the Kyuubi taking over. He appeared to not have gotten sleep either. So their training ended even before it began. And after all that he was dragged by Guy to a drinking party. He saw Kurenai and Asuma waiting for them at a table. It was to celebrate them taking on the burdens of taking care of youths and something like fire and heroes of the future. You know, Ashino told me that one of your genins has commissioned an outfit, Kurenai told him. Sakura? Kakashi guessed. No, Naruto actually, Kurenai told him, much to his surprise. The Nara matriarch? Kakashi asked surprised. She runs a part-time tailoring business, Asuma informed him. He did ask me where I got my uniform from, Kakashi said, maybe he got in contact with her from there. At least anything would be better than that orange, Kakashi sighed. I'm not too sure, Asuma said. Don't you remember Shikaku-sama's peach-brown furry cloak? Or Kurenai's outfit in Guy here? Asuma said. Kurenai's eyes shut him up immediately. For your information, she make personalized outfits for specific people, Kurenai said slamming down her jug. I majorly use genjutsu, so something that attracts their eyes and distract them is very useful, and it is highly fashionable as well, Kurenai dared them to speak against her. She advised me about the material for my jumpsuit too, Guy added, they are very lasting and don't get loose or torn, practicing taijutsu stances. Just so you know, she did not say anything about the color and design. I verified, Kurenai said. And the flowy cloak the Jonin commander wore extended his shadow by that length when it flowed and he used to catch enemies off guard with a little extended length, Kurenai told them. Of course. It's Shikaku, Asuma laughed. I just hope she fixes him, Kakashi hoped. She was very excited about it, Kurenai said. Kakashi, want to bet if? No. Kakashi said furiously. Did I miss something? Asuma asked. I won a bet and won his high-paying long-term missions pay, Guy said smugly. The day couldn't get worse. Thank you for coming back to this. Welcome 3. Kakashi casually strolled through the streets of Konoha, walking towards the Hokage Tower, where his genins would have been waiting for some time now. With Guy dragging him the previous night he hadn't got enough sleep for 2 days, and that was on top of the sleepless nights that he was on mission. He saw his team waiting just outside the Hokage Tower under the shade of a tree. They had become familiar enough to know that he wouldn't be on time and had stopped throwing fits every time he was late. Sasuke seemed to sitting silently while Sakura was talking about something. He couldn't tell because Sasuke wasn't showing any response. Naruto on the other hand was a different story altogether. During the time he was under him, he had learned a lot of things about Naruto. Naruto had an obsessive fetish to close his eyes during the most inappropriate times, he seems to laugh randomly and talk to himself a lot, muttering things to himself. Sometimes it felt like he was talking to some ghost or something. As absurd as that sounded he couldn't help but feel his point proven when sometimes Naruto would randomly just punch or slap himself and then looked annoyed for some reason. Yo, Kakashi made his presence known. As usual Sasuke and Sakura turned towards him and Naruto was just lost in his own world. I want to request a higher ranking mission, Sasuke started immediately. Kakashi groaned internally. Sasuke had been relentless in his requests lately. I took the consent of my teammates as you asked, Sasuke said. Kakashi had been just delaying the inevitable when he had said that, so he sighed silently and looked towards the remaining team. You both feel like you are ready? Kakashi asked. Hi there sensei, Naruto said belated. Thank you for being with us Naruto, but I asked if you think that you are ready for a higher mission, Kakashi repeated himself. Yes, Naruto said. I think so, Sakura said a little hesitant. I will be there to help you if things start falling out, but I won't step in until it's crucial, Kakashi said. Sakura nodded her consent a little relieved. I will request for one then, Kakashi said, but if I feel that you weren't ready for this after the mission, then long D ranks await you. How he enjoyed the look of disgust and horror on their faces. They made their way to the Hokage Tower and got a C rank on his request. An escort mission. He dismissed them for half an hour to pack for the long journey and went back to do the same himself, asking the client to wait by the gate. For the first time after the team formation that he wasn't the last to arrive. Naruto was missing from the group by the gate. Where is Naruto? Kakashi asked. Here, he heard Naruto's voice coming. Why aren't you late? Naruto asked like he was asking a normal question. He should have been offended by it, but he couldn't blame Naruto either. Because this is important, Kakashi answered. Why aren't you packed? Kakashi asked seeing the empty-handed Naruto. I have everything, Naruto said fishing out a scroll for his pocket. How many things could you have stored in one scroll? Kakashi asked. I sealed my bag which stores a lot of things, Naruto answered. That made him and the rest of them look stupid. Did he really never think of that idea until now? Kakashi nodded. Izuna-san, let's get going, Kakashi said. When you said this was important, you meant training us isn't important for you. Sasuke commented. No, I didn't mean that, Kakashi said. What did you mean then? Sakura asked. That isn't important. Focus on the mission, Kakashi said. Couldn't they give him a break? The mission was simple enough for a first time, so he wasn't too worried and it seemed to be going smoothly. That was until he saw Puddle Henge. They shouldn't be here for them. It was a C-rank escort of a merchant. Nothing above thugs should come for them. Was this a kidnapping attempt of the Konoha Jinchuriki? Or the last Sharingan? Or perhaps a revenge on him? He would have to bait the answer out. He replaced a shadow clone with himself and hid to observe who their target is. It was very risky but as important. He needed to figure out because if their target was Naruto, then things might not be peaceful in the near future. The last thing he wanted was another war. A lot of people seek power, but the Jinchuriki is something that one cannot use for personal power, so if this was for Naruto, then the chances of another nation being behind this would increase several folds. Those weren't some ruse shinobi looking to loot a team for money either. Those were the demon twins. Let's get rid of the trash first, brother, one of them said. And then both of them sped towards him and cut him in half. And then ran towards his team. Taking care of trash first was getting rid of them, so. Did that mean? Izuna. Naruto was frozen in place as both of them swung their chain blades towards him. Kakashi had forgotten that it would be their first time experiencing death except for Sasuke. His fake death rooted them in place. He should have somehow informed his team prior. He really acted as he would with a normal team, not accounting the fact that they were not the battle-hardened shinobi. He realized that this wasn't just theirs first, it was his as well. As a sensei. Suddenly he saw Naruto's flash red before he jumped away into safety onto a tree branch. With his fucking eyes closed. Kakashi jumped into action, taking out a kunai and blocking it from cutting Izuna. Suddenly he felt something behind and he turned to see one, presumably a Bunshin was going in for the kill. But before he could move he saw a long blue chain impale it through the back and the Mizu Bunshin disperse. His eyes bulged in surprise to see Naruto leaning on the tree with one hand and two chains thrashing around wildly. Kakashi forced himself to move. Before Naruto heard any of them he sped through with Chidori on hand and cut the chains. Not only it endangered his team and client, but also the enemies that he needed to capture alive for interrogation. Sasuke, now free from having to defend himself and Izuna against the chains, joined to help him rounding them up, while Sakura stayed near Izuna for defense with a kunai in hand. It didn't take long to round them up and tie them up. What was that? Sasuke asked Naruto after everything had calmed down. Adamantine chains, Naruto answered, a secret ability of Uzumaki. When did you learn it? Kakashi asked. You shouldn't use them if you cannot control them. They are dangerous. I can control them. Naruto said defensively. I just panicked. To demonstrate, Naruto grew another chain out of his back and embedded it onto the branch and then swung down from the tree to land just in front of them. It was the last thing that Kakashi had expected to happen. Naruto learning his mother's chains and adept at it too, it seemed, when not panicked. They are not as strong as they are supposed to be though, Naruto said, frowning as he was holding the chain and then dispersing it. Of course they weren't. There were reports that the very same chains had kept the Kyuubi no Kitsune at bay during the attack all those years ago. They were strong enough to withstand the Biju bomb. What was Chidori in comparison to that? But Naruto seemed to be different. It was blue. We will talk about this later, Kakashi said, looking at Izuna. May I know why there are shinobi after you? Kakashi asked coldly. Your request was of a C rank, Kakashi stated. If shinobi are after you then this is higher than that. I don't know what you are talking about, Haddock-san, Izuna said, taking a jug of wine. They were after you, Kakashi said. Why? Were they? Izuna asked. If you don't tell us the truth I have no option but to abort the mission right now, Kakashi warned. No. Don't do that, Izuna instantly sobered up. You were acting drunk? Sakura asked. Our country is in dire condition. This is all we could gather to have shinobi. There is a rich merchant, Gato, who has been colonizing our land for his benefit. I need to build this bridge, Izuna pleaded. How would the bridge help? Naruto asked. There is no means of transport, so for everything we have to rely on him. He is charging extra and on top of that we pay heavy taxes, Izuna said. People barely have to eat. We have spent all of our savings for this. I beg you, Izuna pleaded. This was a very difficult situation for him. He was sure that he would be able to take care of it alone, but still putting his team in danger was something he could not do so casually. He wanted to help the man out, but on the other hand if anything went wrong putting the Jinchuriki and the last pure Sharingan in danger would not go unpunished, even if he dismissed that, dying on the first mission aside, D rank was blamed on the sensei, and the last thing he wanted was blood of his genins on his hands. What do you all think we should do? Kakashi asked his team. Continue the mission, came Sasuke's instant response. Even more excited it seemed. Sensei? Sakura began. Yes Sakura, Kakashi asked. These are the demon twins Gozu and Mizu, right? Sakura asked, fishing out a book which appeared to be a bingo book. Yes, Kakashi replied. Sensei, there have been reports of them working under Mamachi's abuser, Sakura said. That changed things drastically. Where did you hear that? Kakashi asked. There are speculation on shinobi in the bingo book which update regularly, Sakura said. I read it in a book in library that they might not be working independently. There were 4 instances where they were cited or were involved with Mamachi's abuser, Sakura said, and also that he now has a right-hand man. Izuna-san, that changes everything, Kakashi said. He is A-ranking shinobi and he is working with several other shinobi as well. I believe that this Geto person isn't lacking in money or power to commission such figures, Kakashi said. Although he was going off on speculations most of the times, those were wrong and God knows how many speculations there were, the reason why he never bothered to follow them, and why the speculations never made it to be a part of the bingo book. This just jumped from a C rank to a higher ranking A rank, Kakashi said. He peripherally noticed the irritation in Sasuke vanish. He knew that Sasuke wanted to continue the mission, but now things were different. He wouldn't take his team on a suicide mission. And it seemed that Sasuke realized the same. At least he knew his limits. So you won't help me? Tazuna asked coldly. I'm afraid I can't, Kakashi said. They weren't the bad guys here, but Tazuna made them out to be. Then take me back to get me my money back. You all wasted my time, Tazuna said irritatedly. I don't think you will get it back, Kakashi said. What? Tazuna said enraged. It isn't our fault that the mission failed. It was yours for lying, Kakashi said. But why don't you loan money? Naruto asked. If you weren't listening, our nation doesn't have enough to eat. Who would loan money? Tazuna asked. Not yours. Loan money in Konoha, Naruto said. The policies for foreigners are very strict and the interest is very high and I don't own anything that I can guarantee deposit for eligibility, Tazuna said. I have tried everything. I didn't want to lie either. It was my last option. I was talking about something different, Naruto said, trying to imply something. Kakashi had thought that Naruto had zoned out again, deeming it not important, but he turned out to be wrong. Naruto was onto something, that was for sure. What do you mean? Tazuna asked. Something unofficial. Naruto said. That was something he never expected to hear from Naruto. Implying grey money, underhanded tricks, shady stuff coming from a 13-year-old. Tazuna seemed to be thinking about it seriously too. Whatever you do not associate Konoha with it, Kakashi warned and gave a pointed look to Naruto. No. I was talking about borrowing money from someone with interest instead of loaning it, Naruto clarified thankfully. I could help you out if you agree to certain conditions, Naruto said. Naruto, do you even realize what this kind of mission costs? You will make Jonin before you make that amount of money to spare, Kakashi said. That was the pay for A rank multiplied by the number of shinobi plus the taxes. I think I have enough, Naruto said, shrugging it off. Really? Tazuna asked, your parents would allow this? I'm an orphan, Naruto said. And have this kind of money? Tazuna asked suspiciously. Do you want it or not? Naruto asked with finality. Tazuna contemplated for a moment but ultimately having no better plan of action he began, and what are your conditions? The future alliance of sorts, Naruto said. Oh. Naruto was definitely going somewhere with this. What sorts? Tazuna asked. I want to rebuild my clan again and will need financial support or reach, Naruto said. There must be a reason why your country is specifically targeted by this Geto, right? Naruto asked. Yes, there is. Our land is a port of sorts, an international hub. It is located in the center of 3 great nations, Land of Fire, Land of Lightning and Land of Water. These 3 great nations have to pass through our land to cross overseas and generally merchants and cultivators come for that reason, Tazuna said. In short, it is the most popular market you can find in the middle of vast waters, Tazuna said, or used to be before Geto and his men. If I build this bridge then the transport will not be limited to waters and Geto doesn't own our land so he cannot overcharge for that and prevent other countries from doing business with us, Tazuna said. So something like reduced taxes or no transportation charges and kind is what I am looking for, Naruto said. Reduced? I will allow your clan to do business tax-free on our land if you do what you promised, Tazuna said. You're the head of the village, right? Naruto asked skeptically. Of course. Tazuna said indignantly, well, my son-in-law was but after his death we didn't appoint a new one and I unofficially took on the command. Naruto, you know what you are doing, right? Kakashi asked, do you even know how to form a treaty? Gigi will help me, Naruto said instantly like that was a fact. Maybe it was. He knew that the Sandaime would never refuse Naruto something like this. So it's settled? Tazuna asked. Yes, you can go over the negotiations with the Hokage, Naruto said. Let's go back to Konoha first, Naruto said. Kakashi just shook himself from what just happened and firstly sealed the brothers in a scroll to present to the tea department and then led them back. Where did you get that kind of money? Sakura asked Naruto, still dazed over what had happened. He was too. Naruto had turned a failed mission into a gold mine. It was a very unfair trade. No matter how much the mission costs, it cannot even come close to the deal Naruto snagged. He didn't know if he should praise or scold Naruto for handling the situation well or for taking advantage of someone's desperation. I have saving for so long. I cannot build a clan in my one-room apartment. Can I? Naruto said. Just how generous was the Sandaime with his allowance? Kakashi then realized Naruto was a lot more serious about it than he thought. Some part was worried what would Naruto go through if he never found any Uzumaki after doing all this. What book was that? It has all shinobi names and identities. Naruto asked Sakura. It's the bingo book. Mostly ninja who have gone rouge or have bounties on their head, Sakura answered. So how much for them? Naruto asked, pointing at the scroll containing the brothers. It's not mentioned, so I think none, Sakura answered. Naruto then suddenly looked at him, how much for sensei? Kakashi instantly flinched. What is really going on inside his head? Kakashi prayed Naruto wasn't willing to go that far. Why would a Konoha bingo book have one of their own shinobi in there? Sakura deadpanned. What did this C rank turn into? Escalating from C to B to maybe high A to a business deal to maybe a genin plotting murder. Naruto sat in library's Uzumaki room, like the librarian calls it, with many scrolls sprawled around him. There are none, Naruto groaned. There is nothing here that mentions about making the chain stronger. Naruto plopped on his back in the floor, facing the roof. I already told you it is something, just gets better over time, Kurama said. My first hosts could withstand my Biju bombs, but your mothers could not, Kurama said. Maybe it's just the experience. Naruto just hummed nonchalantly. But still, for sensei to just cut them like that, Naruto said, frustrated. Naruto got up and shoved the scrolls aside to leave. At first Naruto was glad to have a room all by himself, but spending hours cooped up in a dim-lit room with very poor ventilation didn't help his frustrations every time he couldn't understand something. The lack of mentoring and guidance was catching up to him. Should I ask help from one of my academy teachers? Naruto asked. I don't know a single thing about it. I don't even know what you people consider legible and what passes as doodles, Kurama deadpanned. Naruto, Chuck, didn't your first host raise like 5 children? It would have helped a lot if you had learned from her, Naruto joked. Kurama just huffed and shut Naruto out to doze off. Naruto, now from personal experience, knew for a fact that hearing the wails wasn't the most ideal thing, and on top of being imprisoned. What would have Kurama gone through having to experience raising 5 kids? And oh, how could he forget the grandchildren? She lived a long life. Naruto was just glad that Kurama didn't kill babies on sight, and most importantly him. Naruto did a double take, seeing the moon instead of the sun, stepping out of the library. It was night already. He had been there since afternoon. Naruto now really decided to get that clock he had planned to buy for library. He had so much to do today. He had to go grocery shopping, do laundry, pick up clothes that he commissioned. What time was it? Seeing barely anybody was in the library, it looked like past midnight. And more importantly, Kakashi-sensei had asked him to come at his best tomorrow. Guess he really didn't like that one time he showed up all sleepy and red-eyed. How was he supposed to get adequate sleep now? He had said it was for training properly with his chains. Like he knew anything about them. That chain-cutting monster, Naruto said dramatically. Are you still going on about that, Kurama sked? It's no fair. I trained so hard and then he comes with his glowing hand and cuts them like butter, Naruto pouted. Oh. We are out of that as well. Add that to the grocery list, Kurama said, uncaring about Naruto's rants. Huh, Naruto said, offended. Naruto punched his navel in his futile attempt to get back at Kurama, much to his amusement. No one other than Kurama knew why Naruto walked home holding his stomach and an annoyed frown on his face. I'll only buy spicy ramen this time, Naruto planned with an evil smirk on his face. He hates spicy, right? He didn't know how he would have Kurama switch with him and try those though. Next day. Wake up, brat. You will drown, Kurama screamed. Naruto was in his bathtub, well, Naruto's body was, with Kurama inhabiting it. A little longer, Naruto said groggily as he lay in the waters of the sewer of his mind, half submerged. No, Kurama said. If you don't wake up, I'll walk outside on 4 limbs like this, Kurama threatened. Don't. Just switch, Naruto yawned sleepily. Naruto took hold of his body and dried off and clothed himself and headed to the kitchen to make himself breakfast. We are out of ramen as well, Naruto said, waking up completely. I really need to go shopping today, Naruto said, deciding to drop breakfast. Who trains this early anyways, Naruto said, frowning at the clock indicating 5 in the morning. Ichiraku wouldn't be open now, Naruto thought sadly. Deciding to visit Ichiraku after training, Naruto started walking out of his apartment. Shouldn't you wear a torn shirt today, Kurama interjected. Huh? Why, Naruto asked confused. Oh. I am training with my chains today, Naruto remembered. There it is, Kurama rolled his eyes. Thanks, Naruto thanked him and got a spare shirt before heading out. Training ground. Kakashi was as usual late, but it was for the better as Naruto got some sleep before Kakashi arrived. I hope you all are at your best today, Kakashi said. He got 3 hesitant nods as an answer. So sensei asked all of us to be prepared, Naruto thought. Kakashi ran through some hand signs and produced 3 bunchins. Today you will be showing me whatever you have learned and up to what levels, Kakashi said. So like summarize our skills, Sakura asked. Exactly, Kakashi said, but I will point out your weaknesses and then we will work on them. The real me would occasionally drop by each of you, Kakashi said. Now start, Kakashi commanded them as one clone for each led them far away from each other to get some space. Do you know anything except the basic 3 and the chains, Kakashi asked him. If you are asking about jutsu or anything combative then no, Naruto answered. And I weren't, Kakashi asked, slightly amused. Some seals but nothing of use to fight. Like door lock seals, chakra storing seals, and I am working on a fire talisman to replace the candles in the library as well, Naruto listed off the top of his head. Fire talismans, Kakashi asked. Like a paper, but the paper would burn very slowly, which would last longer and produce more light than candles, Naruto said. Kakashi nodded at the new information, slightly in awe. So you have pretty much mastered the basic 3, Kakashi began, already moving on. All you have to focus on is the chains. My control isn't perfect, but it's good enough. I just panicked last time, Naruto defended himself. And there isn't a way to make them stronger than they already are, Naruto said. I checked, so I don't think there's anything to work on there. Where do you feel you stand in terms of taijutsu, Kakashi asked suddenly. Naruto was confused with the sudden change in topic, but he answered anyways. Taijutsu, 2 or 3 out of the 5, Naruto said unsure. Show me, Kakashi said just as he attacked him. Why, Naruto said as he jumped back, avoiding the kick to his chin. Naruto adapted the pace quickly, blocking, dodging, attacking relentlessly. He and his team had sparred with Kakashi many times, almost every training session, but Naruto knew this time was different. Kakashi was never this ruthless. Other times, Kakashi was sparring to train them, but this time he was sparring to defeat him. Naruto could feel that in the punches. The skill level was so vast that Naruto knew he didn't have a chance, and Kakashi knew it too. He was just playing with him, humiliating him. Kakashi held back his kick inches before his face as Naruto lay in his knees, exhausted. Is he trying to say that I'm overestimating my skills, Naruto asked. Kurama Tsukad, let me just Biju bomb that smug look off his face dangerously. You will wipe him off from the face of the earth before wiping off his expression from his face, Naruto said. Kakashi offered Naruto his hand to stand up. Again, Kakashi said. What, Naruto exclaimed. This time use your chains, Kakashi said. Huh, Naruto said confused. But Kakashi was already attacking him. Naruto, being already exhausted, didn't jump away or dodge, but blocked the attack with his chains. Naruto was a lot slower now, but the help from the adamantine chains made up for it. He used 2 of them to keep Kakashi's hands occupied while he attacked with his own hands and kept the last chain free to defend against Kakashi's kicks and any surprise attacks. Do you understand now, Kakashi began. You can hold out against a superior opponent with ease, Kakashi said. Think of them as extra limbs. They are the greatest asset any Tai user can want, Kakashi said. They are more sturdy than any opponent's fist. I am asking you to create your own taijutsu style involving the chains. I will help you out wherever you need my help. I have a few acquaintances as well, Kakashi said. Naruto pulled back his chains and looked at Kakashi, scrunching his nose as if he was disgusted by something. You couldn't have just said so, Naruto asked, massaging his sore muscles. I wanted to check if you lost control, if you were overwhelmed, Kakashi said. At the cost of my shirt, Naruto pouted. I even brought a spare one, but now thanks to you this one is ruined as well. Kakashi suddenly popped. What happened, Naruto asked frantically. It was a clone. Stop shouting, Kurama said. Oh yeah, I forgot, Naruto said somewhat calm. Naruto looked to see the Sakura and Sasuke's Kakashi clones had disappeared as well. Sasuke was demonstrating some Uchiha fire jutsu, Naruto assumed to no one, and Sakura was somehow walking straight on a tree without falling. The real Kakashi walked up to them and said, I have been urgently summoned by the Hokage. We would have to stop here today, Kakashi said. Naruto, how did things go with Tazuna, Kakashi asked. It worked out fine. Gigi drafted the contract and he signed it and everything, Naruto answered. The mission began a few days ago, Naruto said. So it's not that, Kakashi said, contemplating. I'll see you guys later. Kakashi vanished instantly. We can go shopping now, Naruto said and turned to leave but was blocked. Spar with me, Sasuke said, looking at him. But the chain, Sasuke added. So Sasuke seemed to have noticed that. It was a normal request, but the glint in Sasuke's eye made Naruto rethink. You're all beat up. What did sensei make you do anyway, Sakura asked. Taijutsu, Naruto answered Sakura. I can't. I have things to do, Naruto said to Sasuke, it's kinda urgent. This was the last one I had, Naruto said, showing Sasuke the back of his shirt. Next time, Sasuke told him, which sounded much like a warning. What's up with him, Naruto asked as he left. He is just like his ancestor, power-hungry, Kurama said with. I don't think wanting to spar warrants comparison with Madara. Naruto rolled his eyes. You will see one day, his downfall will be his hunger for power, Kurama said, most serious Naruto has ever seen him. People like them aren't meant to be befriended or made enemies against, Kurama said. Naruto didn't say anything and just listened to Kurama. He was better at judging people's intentions anyways. Naruto quickly made a stop by Ichiraku and then his house to grab his purse, Gama-chan. The first place he visited was to retrieve his clothes. He was supposed to get them yesterday, but things happened and here he was walking through the complex compound. Naruto knocked politely on the door and waited. Soon enough the lady he had met opened the door. Naruto-kun. Your order is ready, I have been waiting for you, she said, smiling. Sorry, I couldn't come yesterday, Naruto apologized. No worries. Please enter, she said, welcoming Naruto inside. It was the second most fancy house Naruto had ever seen, first being the one he saw on that babysitting mission. Although he had seen and entered the house the previous time, but still he couldn't help but look around. The hallway, guest room, the courtyard, the Shikamaru. Wait, Shikamaru, Naruto said, looking dumbly where Shikamaru was laying on his back. He is my son, why, she asked and then turned where Naruto was looking. So that's where he is, the lady said dangerously and walked up to him and woke him up by his ear. The lady was Shikamaru's mother. What did I ask you to do? She pinched his ear. This is how you get watermelon for guests. Troublesome, Shikamaru muttered. Now go get them, she said. Shikamaru lazily walked past and then turned back. Naruto. What are you doing here? Shikamaru asked. He is my customer. Now go get the watermelons, Ashino said. So his are the ones you cold shut up about? Shikamaru asked. I don't see any watermelons, Ashino said in a warning tone. Shikamaru grunted and walked away. Sorry, he doesn't listen normally. He is a bit lazy, she told him, follow me. A bit. Naruto almost choked out in laughter. Naruto was led to the small room where he was taken last time, but this time there were a lot more people. Taoji and Ino too. Hey Naruto, Chaoji said, what are you doing here? Hey, Naruto replied uncomfortably under the gazes of many. I can come later if you are busy, Naruto said. No need, a woman with blonde hair said, we were just looking through Ashino's designs. She looked a lot like Ino. Was she Ino's mother? Shikamaru's mother, as he knew her now, went and came back with a bag. You can try them in the next room, she told him, pointing at the said room. Naruto took it and went to see the fit, wanting to get this over with quickly and leave. On touching the shirt, he could feel that the material was more superior than anything he had ever owned, but it was also more expensive than anything he had ever owned. It was just a plain white t-shirt with the Uzumaki insignia on the back, but made with chakra strings. Well, just the stitching of the formula was. Naruto was unsure if his idea would work out, but after talking with Shikamaru's mother, he had some hope. It was just an ordinary looking shirt on the outside, but it was laden with Fuinjutsu seals and formula. Firstly, the modified version of the storage scroll which would allow him to use his chains freely without having to worry about his shirt. Secondly was a chakra seal would store the chakra of the strings and prevent it from dispersing if ever he was exhausted and saved him from having to constantly provide chakra to hold the strings. Third was one which hid the other ones, so it didn't look like a shirt with doodling and writing on it. Fourth was a suppressant which suppressed the chakra so he wouldn't be immediately snuffed out by sensors. Naruto quickly put it on. It was a little bigger than his fit as requested. Reason being Kurama being uncomfortable with tight clothes and also so that Naruto could use them longer and wouldn't grow out of it quickly. Naruto tried using the chains. The black border of the Uzumaki insignia Darkeniden shifted as all the formula and kanji moved across his entire back like slithering snakes until the back of his shirt was showcased the dark inked formula when his chains were brought out. To be honest, he was a bit surprised that Shikamaru's mother pulled it off. He obviously provided the designs, written and drawn neatly on a scroll to copy from, but still it was a different thing to sew them perfectly. It didn't look messy at all. Instead it was kind of cool. Even better and beautiful than he could write them. Naruto happily made his way out with the bag of clothes. Naruto had ordered 6 more of the same identical shirts, and then Shikamaru's mother had fussed about how it wouldn't match with the orange at all and had prodded him into buying some dull-colored shinobi pants like grays and blacks, but those didn't matter. What mattered was the shirt. "It's perfect," Naruto told Kurama. "Looks like we didn't get cheated this time," Kurama hummed. Naruto went back to see expecting eyes and one lazy Shikamaru who had apparently been back with watermelons. Ino said, looking him up and down with a scrunched nose. "Ashino, it's kind of a letdown from how excited you were," Ino's mother deadpanned. "Let down? You don't know what you are talking about," she huffed and walked up to Naruto with fire glazing in her eyes. "May I use one for demonstration, Naruto-kun?" she asked. Something told Naruto to oblige quietly. Maybe it was Kurama, maybe the fear, maybe the sight of sweat-dropping Shikamaru. Ashino took out a knife and stabbed into the shirt with force he had never used a kunai with. Where did she even get that? It was not the one they were using to cut the watermelon. She just summoned it out of thin air. She continued stabbing it mercilessly with vigor and passion until she tired and sweat was glistening off on her forehead. Then she held up the shirt with a sweet smile and showed that nothing had happened, wiping the sweat with knife still in hand. "These are made from chakra strings," Ashino said. "These would last longer than your husband." Ino's mother interrupted. "We get it, Ashino," she said, indicating around them with her eyes for some reason. Ashino cleared her voice with a nervous laughter. "Naruto-kun, why don't you join us?" Ashino asked. "Like you would stay and eat at the knife-summoning stabbing ladies." "I have to go," Naruto said, extending his hand to take the shirt back, a little unsure if he should just let it be. Ashino quickly folded the shirt and put it back for him. Naruto brought out his gamachan to pay. Making small talk as Ashino got him the change. "Was your sensei called in too?" Naruto asked Choji. "He is away on some very important mission, but all the Jonins were called in," Ino answered him, making air quotes. "It was a gathering of all Ino Shikacho trios until our dads and Choji's mother were called in," Shikamaru said. "I'm assuming your sensei was called in too?" Shikamaru asked. Naruto took back his change and nodded to Shikamaru his answer and left, swiftly ending the conversation awkward yet quickly. "Weird people," Naruto said. "Scary people," Naruto muttered, remembering everything. "I'm not going back like ever." "You should have seen your mother," Kurama said, huffing. Now Naruto really didn't want to. Naruto kept walking to his last destination to buy groceries. He kept walking but something felt off to him. Everything was normal and nothing out of ordinary was happening, but he got this foreboding sense that he should be careful. "Kurama, watch the back. I get this bad feeling for some reason." Naruto went about his normal routine. Henge into a unsuspecting get-up of a reasonable age to be buying particular things that he did and also be old enough for there to be a reason to be shopping alone for the entire household and get started. Vegetables check. Ramen check. Spicy ramen check. Fruits. "I want to eat watermelon now," Naruto said. "You haven't tasted that one, right?" Naruto asked. "There's a man looking at you," Kurama warned instead. Naruto turned around to see the man he had sometimes seen at academy parent-teacher meeting with the Hyuga girl. So he must be the head of the Hyuga clan. Did Naruto do something? Was this about that day with the Hyuga boy, Niji? Was he not supposed to say those things to him? The man even had his Byakugan activated. But the tension in Naruto's body doubled when the man sped towards him in full speed with intent to attack. No matter how much Naruto wanted to assure himself that he wouldn't kill him because he was the Jinchuriki and hence important enough to the village, it didn't help. He was just recently showed that his chains could do nothing against superior skills, and that was Kakashi's clone. Which wasn't even trying to kill him. But suddenly Naruto felt cold metal to his neck and saw the man halt. Naruto peeked to see behind him and saw an elderly man holding a kunai against his neck. "One more step and I kill him," he said as he puffed in smoke and revealed. "Mizuki-sensei?" Naruto asked, wide-eyed, dropping his own henge. Did he mistakenly henge as a criminal? He saw a greedy smile appear on Mizuki's face. "I couldn't get luckier," Mizuki said. "You can't escape this," the Hyuga man said. "Leave the boy and surrender with the forbidden scroll," he said. "Wait. What was going on?" "Your teacher seems to be betraying the village by stealing some forbidden scroll," Kurama said. "So this is why sensei and all the Jonins were called in," Naruto guessed. "Makes sense, a Hyuga found him first," Kurama said. "So this is why I felt something off. Everything was too normal for a shinobi village." Naruto said. "They were trying to stay undercover and trying to act normal. This must be big if they can't let the public know," Naruto said. "Stop speculating and do something or want me to go wild," Kurama said. "Want to use the chakra cloak or the Biju bomb?" Kurama asked. "Neither," Naruto said. "They will find out about me being a perfect Jinchuriki." Naruto in a flash produced his chains. Mizuki's body was pressed against Naruto's, so the only way was to stab Mizuki in the process. He had apparently stolen something and had the information on it, so they must need him alive. Naruto had to make sure that wouldn't kill him and target the non-vital spots. Mizuki spit out blood as Naruto's chain entered his stomach and loosened his grip on his neck, so Naruto took the opportunity and slammed him away and then quickly tied Mizuki tight with his chains in midair, and the third one's sparp end was pressed against his Adam's apple, threatening to bleed. Monster Mizuki choked out as Naruto pressed further. Naruto turned to look at the Hyuga who was now gawking at him, although with a straight face. "Come with me," he said to the Hokage. "I need to report everything and you have gotten involved. This will not result in any problems for you, I promise," he said. Naruto nodded and walked out. He turned back to see the man still standing there. He visibly shook himself, started walking as well. That's how he found himself walking by a respected clan head while manhandling a Konoha shinobi with his chains, and the said respected clan head holding his grocery bag with a stoic face, ignoring the whispers of the demon fox manipulating and enchanting the Hyuga head. What if Kurama give all chakra to Naruto in Chunin exams? Sasuke bashing, and thanks for watching my video till the end. If you enjoy this content then do consider subscribing to my channel and leave a like if you guys need the next part, comment down, and thanks for watching the video and see you guys in the next video.